Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS Challengers League. I'm Mazel. I'm joined by Magical and Cubby yet again. As we do have our play-by-play bias always on this desk. We are getting into our second series of the day. It's Maryville versus FlyQuest Challengers. And personally, I think it's going to be a bit of a Slogderfest. Slaughterfest?
Slogderfest?
Slogderfest.
It's a new word.
I've been making up a lot of words recently, and honestly, I feel like I'm on a roll.
Hey, it's okay. I make up words all the time.
Yeah, it works really well, especially when you're a play-by-play.
Yeah, no one knows.
The way that these two teams play, the way that we've seen them kind of combat each other, is very, very curious to me. And I want to take a look at the standings because this is a situation where Maryville are backs against the wall. They need to win every single series. They need to have strong performances here on out, Cubby.
And it's been a tough go in the second round robin for Maryville. They were 9-9 after the first round robin, giving them a 2-10 record in the last 2 weeks. And honestly, FlyQuest, this was a big 2-0 for Maryville back in week 3, day 3, that got them to that 9-9 mark. And Maryville, maybe if they're able to topple a very strong team that we have in Challengers, especially of late, could get them back on track to make sure that they at least aren't in threat to falling out of playoffs and into the promotion tournament at the end of August into September.
Oh, well, we're going to go ahead and look at FlyQuest Challengers as Magical baited me a little bit there.
I got baited because I was going to bounce off of Cubby, and then FlyQuest Challengers came up. Like, my point is now irrelevant.
So we'll come back to it later. But this FlyQuest roster, I think they've shown a lot of strength, not only from the growth we saw from them last split, but here in this split their own. They are really turning it on here at the last bit, and that is now apparently a tradition for FlyQuest. But Maryville University on the other side, they've had some troubles. They've had some trials. They've had some tribulations. They had a heck of a rough week last week as well, Magical.
All right, now I can bring back the point. Now it's relevant again because Maryville's on the screen. Because the last time we really saw Maryville look their strongest was up against FlyQuest back in week 3, day 3. Getting that 2-0, it feels like that was the high note of their summer split so far. And they have been struggling to kind of find that identity again. Where before, when we look at the first round robin, it was really attack the top side, use the priority that got the top in the top side of the map to then look towards the bot lane. Teams figured that out. They kind of looked at the FlyQuest Challengers series and said, hey, they constantly try to play around Niles so that Niles can move around the map. Let's make sure they can't do that, and so that way we'll constantly beat them.
And on the other side, right, FlyQuest, that's where it felt like it started all turning around. And they were really putting it together against Maryville, too. But we do want to look ahead for Maryville, because I know I foreshadowed to it earlier, but this is a pretty much, win all your games, hopefully, to finish a strong split for them. And we do have to look at that road ahead. There are some pretty big guards in the way, all right? And it might be a green field. It might be a little bit fun, but it is something that is a serious note for Maryville. They have to charge. They have to head straight into battle and take down these 3 opponents, Magical.
The line, I love the line that you've drawn on there onto the standings, because it really is the most important thing about these bottom 3 teams, Maryville, Team Fish Taco, and Supernova. They're all fighting for that last remaining spot in the playoffs. I kind of was saying, AoE, EGC, there's always that small possibility. Maybe they don't make it in, but it's so small. Realistically, it's these 3 teams that are fighting it out, and Maryville have such a tough road. Cincinnati Fear, we just saw how dominant they were in that last series, but also having to face off here against FlyQuest Challengers, that's going to be another really difficult task to ask for them to replicate like they did in week 3.
I gotta say, the last series and the last day, it is Maryville versus Team Fish Taco, and that really could decide who is in playoffs and who is not. So if Maryville can pick up any wins against FlyQuest or Fear, that could be very significant in making sure they have some space between them and Team Fish Taco, as of course they do somewhat control their own destiny potentially at the end of this week.
And that's where, heading straight into battle, headlong into your opponents is important, but also taking a look back at the history between these two, and especially the last time we saw them. I think that's the most curious part, is you have to look at the strengths you were kind of mentioning earlier, Magical, but Cubby, you have to pull some of those strengths from a long history ago, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, this was a rather wild series when they went up against each other in the last match of the first round robin, as Maryville found a 2-0 in 2 games I really felt like at times were won for FlyQuest, given where they're at in the base at this time of the game and the gold lead they had. And then the next clip, Renata wasn't able to base here for the base defense, but FlyQuest have Ocean Soul, and then everyone just kind of abandons Masu as it's like a double TP in. And Masu just has to run for the hills, and FlyQuest weren't able to peel off for him. So this was a really tough 2-0. And I know from talking with Masu and FlyQuest that this really actually helped them focus up for the season. They're like, hey, we were not on the same page as a team. We weren't really playing well as a team yet. We're trying to do too many things at once. And I think that from this series, FlyQuest have been tied for AOE's, the best record in the second round robin at 8-4. I think this series was a lot of motivation for them to actually clean things up, as Spyrax did fall 0-2 to his old college.
And I'm kind of curious to see how maybe some motivation will come there for FlyQuest as well, because they did get a 0-2 handed to them at the end of Week 5 by EGC, a team that is also soaring up in the standings. So you kind of look at this and like almost feel like all these, whenever FlyQuest get a 0-2, they take out their aggression on the next team they face off against. They're like, all right, we're tired of this. Let's bully whoever we're facing off against next. And that feels like maybe that could be Maryville, especially because they are fighting for that second seed right now.
Yeah, and you got that little bit of revenge. The dish best served cold for sure. But I want to look at something that I feel like has been a pretty big prominence for FlyQuest Challengers, and it is the mid lane. It is Spyrax, who has had, honestly, an incredible split so far. I feel like this guy continues to grow from that collegiate originality that he had all long ago, Cubby.
Yeah, if you just saw Spyrax in his one day of LCS, you aren't going to have nearly as high of an opinion as you have from him if you have watched him in this split of Challengers. As Spyrax, I think, has been a big reason why FlyQuest are tied at the top for the best record in the second round robin. Spyrax has leveled up his play. FlyQuest said it in their announcement. We feel like Spyrax has earned some stage time. He got to play a critical game on stage. Yeah, it wasn't a win, but still, Spyrax has been a monster here in NACL, especially in the second round robin, and excited to see what he can do this time around against his old college.
It's also hard to kind of judge someone based off one game, right? You look at one game. I don't like that. Look at one game.
This is the League of Legends community. We must have results-based analysis and come to early conclusions. It is a must.
Exactly, and that's why I'm fighting against it, because that's what I do best. I fight against the norm.
I don't care. I had this whole spiel in that last clip I was going to go off. I let you guys go at it. I just got to throw some more love to Spyrax there. The way that he picked apart that fight, he waited for a lot of those big engage tools to come through, and that's kind of the patience we've seen grow from this guy. But this matchup in particular, it's going to be bloody. I expect a lot of action, a lot of skirmishing between the junglers as well, and we're going to be getting into it now. Our draft is ready to go. Let's kick off our final series of the day, Maryville University versus FlyQuest Challengers.
Final series of the day here on Path to LCS. There's going to be more action on LCS_Challengers that goes on simultaneously. Don't forget, you can also subscribe to the channel here, as well as LCS_Challengers. It helps benefit the players. 50% is split amongst the teams, so that way you can help make this league even better and help out the players. But getting into the draft here, we do see some unusual things. And obviously, the big ones that we normally see, the Kindred and LeBlanc, are banned away. But that Olaf levied towards Faisal, that is the comfort champion of all comfort champions for FlyQuest.
I mean, is that really unusual to see Olaf getting taken away by FlyQuest?
In all other drafts. In all other drafts besides FlyQuest.
It's taken away in over 50% of FlyQuest Challengers games, and it will continue here as a lot of priority picks taken off the board. Curious to see where Rel falls for the side of Maryville. I think Maryville have been more apt or more keen to take the Nautilus and Rakan from what I've seen, but maybe going back to the drawing board, realizing that Rel is a really powerful champion. They will be locking that one in for themselves, and the quick response from FlyQuest is they snag that Kaisa and answer with the Sejuani.
Yeah, I like this answer coming in from FlyQuest, getting themselves what we normally see from that Kaisa. We saw how powerful she can be and what she can really do around the map later into the game. But we are getting a very quick draft. We're not really able to talk about a lot because on the other side, I like this Xayah pick too. This has been something that I think Maryville have utilized a lot, and we actually see a lot of times when Maryville do lose, it's because the Xayah has been banned away from Scary Jerry, the self-peeling tool that it gives.
And look, Kaisa's really strong right now, but I do like what MU did by taking two matchups that are bad for Kaisa, and the Nico and the Xayah. So this kind of does pivot FlyQuest where, like, all right, let's at least get the Azir mid so we can somewhat answer the push of Nico. I gotta say, I don't love this matchup. Spyrax himself was actually, what was it? There was a Nico game where there was a solo kill against an Azir. I think it was Saligo who got taken out by Spyrax when Spyrax was playing the Nico. So this is a matchup where you have to be careful because Azir, of course, he's not very mobile. He freezes for every auto attack. That is a window that Nico will look to punish. Nico did see some nerfs in this patch, but still is very lane dominant and has that lane priority that is scary.
Yeah, I believe it was also Saligo had that one flank, just the one pure flank as Nico that completely shifted the tides of that game too. And that's the one thing Nico does provide. A good TP ward, a good Pop Blossom in the backline can really shift the tides of any fight, especially up against the Emperor himself. But as we get into the second part of the bans, a lot of supports banned here from both sides. Taking that recon, kind of expecting maybe that Rel is going to be swapped up towards Odd Orange.
Odd Orange is yet to play that in the jungle yet, but again, we expect our Challengers players to be able to pilot this Rel in the jungle as well as support. So I think the recon ban is just maybe ensuring that Rel actually does go to that support.
Yeah.
As we see Cassante taken away from FlySol, I like this ban. I think Cassante has been massive for FlySol, and also FlyQuest. They want to blind a top laner here to try and answer that Rel wherever it goes. So now this puts FlyQuest in a bit of a bind. They take something like Sion, been a very big pick for them, and a really big for the side of FlySol.
Kind of expected to be Sion.
Or do they take a support?
Oh, they are going to go for the Leona. I kind of expected the Sion here, just because we have seen a lot of that and how it works with FlyQuest, but holding off for the counter pick here in the matchup. And I was kind of alluding to it earlier, that Maryville, when we look at the first round robin, a lot of their game plan was attacking the top lane, utilizing the Sejuani Pantheon combo to great effect in those early stages of the drafts. But here, they don't really have that benefit. They have, sure, a powerful pick like this Rumble, and that's really gonna kind of deprioritize things like Sion. But you still have to keep in mind that how do you pick around this as FlyQuest? You have many options.
I mean, this is a big wombo combo that's showing for Maryville. Rumble, Rel, really good combo at the moment, and then you throw on
Vi would be
a
good.
Nico ult, maybe a season assist on top of that as well from Vi, who is sneaking her way back into this patch. I will say Maryville, a brute force team fight comp, and Faisal's not one to play a lot of split pushers. He is mostly playing weak side, and his teammates credit him for creating space in team fights, but I would love to see a Trinity here. I feel like you gotta play split push into what Maryville is showing. You cannot beat that as a 5-stack. You have some decent disengage between the Azir and the Sejuani, so it's a pivot for FlyQuest, and Faisal, one of his first split pushers that we've seen all split. Yeah, he has the Olaf, but it's 3 games of Olaf, 1 game of Gwen. Everything else has been tank duty for the side of Faisal. So a very different look coming out of Faisal and FlyQuest Challengers. And Faisal, I think he's had a pretty good second round robin too. Sparx has been the big focus, and rightfully so. But Faisal, for me, has also leveled up in the second round robin. And we'll have to see what he can do in this matchup where you do not get shoved early, but once you get some items and levels onto the Trinimir, you can kind of sustain through the damage from Rumble. And in the side lane, you murder Rumble later in the game. So we'll see if Faisal can scale into that.
And something I love about having this Tryndamere, we talked about Maryville, attack the top lane, Odd Orange and Niles, how they tag team together. Sejuani loves playing around things like Tryndamere. You can stack up that permafrost so fast, and it's something you can tack early on the map for FlyQuest as we've loaded up onto the Rift for our second series of the day here on Path to LCS. Maryville University fighting for their lives in the Challengers League. Every game is so crucial for them. Picking up a single win could be enough to make sure they are not a part of the promotion tournament.
Really interested to see what this game looks like for FlyQuest Challengers, as, again, Faisal, this is not his role within the team. This is a different role for him, and oh boy, do we have some level 1 scouting coming in?
Looking for Odd Orange. Odd Orange in a bad spot. Forced to dash early. Be fine, but not having the denting blows is going to slow down his clear just a little bit.
Yuji actually going to snag that ward. Looked like they were trying to gift it over to Spyrax for a sec there, but not going to be the case, as scouting ward answered by the side of Maryville. Zyko sees 3, able to sneak one into the blue buff, as it will be, looks like red side starts for each of our junglers, as Winsome.
Winsome, nice.
Gets the bonus. If you start sweeper, you get 2 sweeps pretty early on, so taking full advantage of some of the changes we saw at Trinkets.
That's going to be two wards taken away, denying all that vision for Maryville here early on. As Faisal, I like that too. He goes for a very late ward placement there on the blue buff, so they'll know fully well that Odd Orange is pathing towards the top lane to really attack that top lane as expected.
And for me, something that's been interesting about FlyQuest Challengers, I think each split, is I've credited them to be a very flexible team. I thought that, like, in spring, They could play the Wombo team fight with stuff like Azir, but also could pivot to playing Lee Sin, Vi plus Talia, and play a very controlled games around like Ezreal, Rakan bottom lane, where FlyQuest really leaned on their macro to really beat teams and try to take a top 4 finish in our tournament, as they fell just short in spring. It's a good test for them in the last week of the regular season to see if they can pivot and be that flexible team that I've credited them for throughout a lot of the year. As again, this is a very different look for FlySol and his role in the team. So I'm curious to see how flexible FlyQuest can be around this Tryndamere pick, and if they can play towards it in a way that is appropriate. Is Yuji. That ward's spotted by Odd Orange.
And Yuji knows that Odd Orange is there. Even calling for Spyrex to play a bit safer back, so that way he's not going to be as much in danger. But Odd Orange actually goes right around him. Is looking for this play mid lane, knowing that Yuji is there, probably even knowing that Faisal is there.
Look at Winsome. Winsome's actually rotated up to mid to try and protect Spyrex. This is the only play that Odd Orange has, and Spyrex.
Shrima shuffles away. Gets a lot of distance. The follow-up from Odd Orange, but that's going to be the Zenith play tagging Odd Orange. A little bit of damage traded back. The support done a good job, but you got to be careful. That is a root in place, but the Ignite Burn First Blood. Spyrex manages to pick up the kill as Zyko was too late to help out.
Great bait from Winsome, as I gotta say, the Glacial Augment actually did so much work there, just really diminishing the damage that was put down onto this Leona as he flashes out in the end, and Yuji just gets the feast off this man. I mean, Faisal brute force shoved down these first 3 waves, so with the shove that FlyQuest had, Yuji was able to walk into this side of the jungle for free from Maryville, and credit to FlyQuest. I think FlyQuest have had good ideas of how to play the early game. This was a really creative one by utilizing the bot lane shove to then prevent a gank mid that Odd Orange was trying, as Odd Orange had no other play to do on the map. Big punish coming out from the side of FlyQuest, as this map very early on looking in great shape for them.
Especially because that was a big minion wave that Odd Orange was kind of sitting in. That was what I think most of the damage really came in from. Early on to the game, that's going to really hurt you. And now, mid lane, kind of frozen here. Even though Get Back has to get rid of the minion waves and push it back a little bit to answer what Spyrex is able to get. Spyrex gets a nice recall. Going to have that Lost Chapter. It doesn't even bother TPing back into lane.
That's really big. Yeah, Lost Chapter's nice, but the fact that he was able to just walk back into the lane, save that TP, get chunked out from Nico, just get a new lease on the life bar, as we see Faisal making good use of this matchup against Niles. Niles did take the phase rush to try and get out of the W slow that comes out from Tryndamere. So Niles really paying respect towards the power that Tryndamere has in this matchup, and Faisal already has just been able to murk these waves. He's just been autoing them down, as this Rumble, used to seeing this Rumble live under the opponent's turret, have shove, but not into this Tryndamere lane, where you can fully sustain if you put points into the queue, which Faisal is doing on this Tryndamere. And again, later in the game, you become a menace in the side lane as a split pusher.
And you talked about... Oh, hold on. Let me put that on pause, because there's a flash on to Winsome. Winsome just stepping out too far, so that's going to be a pickup for Maryville. Pretty free on that one with the Dragon. The answer back for FlyQuest is going to be what's important here. They are able to push off Maryville, which will help them a little bit, but it's only been resetted. It hasn't fully been denied there from Maryville, as Maryville
scary for Maryville.
Really want this, but look at Get Back on the other side. That's going to be a flash away, getting a lot of damage to crash down too. Maryville has to be so careful. Look at Spyrex on the other side. Scary Jerry flashing forward with the root. Will connect with the flash forward from Masu. One more auto should get the kill on to Scary Jerry. He picks it up as well. Yuji takes down the Dragon.
And that is just a disastrous early game now for the side of Maryville, given what they want to do with this comp. It is all about Dragon stacking with the Vi and using the pressure of the Nico. Things are already falling apart for the side of Maryville. They lose that first Dragon. Odd Orange is now going to lose more camps. He's going to get invaded the pond.
Oh no, he's dashing away, but how much he's losing for this. He's shoved away. Can't even safely recall underneath his turret. That's how pressured he is. Just kind of help out Scary Jerry, get him towards that massive minion wave. Look at how big that minion wave is in the bot lane.
Scary Jerry going to lose all of that, given the strength of FlyQuest. And like they feel like they have to fight this, I guess.
Yeah, what else are you going to do? You're losing so much the whole time, and even still, they can't step up.
Wow.
It's a nice blade caller there from Scary Jerry, but they're continuing to lose more. They're not gaining anything. This has got to be a crime of some kind, Cubby.
Masu even got a plate off all this, too.
I know!
So.
This is criminal!
Okay, well, Hey, yeah, you know, if you're a Maryville fan on the bright side, FlyQuest did monumentally throw the 2 games they played against him in week 3, so, you know, you can hold on to that hope. Right? Huh?
Scary Chair's not going to get the cannon either. That's another plate.
That's 3 plates.
That's 3 plates.
You know, it's not over till the Fat Lady sings, as, okay, we did have a play mid. Spyrax.
Oh, wait, that connected? Well, okay, he still survived.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, he did. Yeah, all right, he lives. All right, well done. I mean, everything coming up FlyQuest. The strat for Maryville in this game, Nico Rumble, it's about having push and, you know, enabling Vi to get up in the face of this Sejuani, enabling the team to go impact bot lane, enabling the team to take early neutral objectives. They've lost the first dragon. They're losing shove in each of their solo lanes, so we should see UG and FlyQuest be able to get in here and try and contest this Rift Herald, which, given the drafts, you would think that this Rift Herald is all that Maryville wants to do set up for it. They have it, as, you know, I had Bradley come into my chat during VOD reviews yesterday. He called Renekton a Herald bot. I feel like MU have Herald bot champions, right? We must fight Herald at 8 minutes, and that's exactly what MU is looking to do, despite them having a deficit. It has enabled Yuji to get in here, already started, as another eye is procced, and this Herald is low.
There's Niles with the equalizer, scaring off Yuji at the moment. They still got Spyrax here, waiting for that Emperor's Divide. It's on cooldown, but it should be up soon. They got the root on Spyrax on the other side, but they engage, looking for Zyko. The crash down, not connecting. Waiting it out. Niles has yet to pull the trigger on the ultimate. They're going to lose Rel. Now they're in the corridor. That's going to be the equalizer, doing a lot of damage. Ripping apart FlyQuest. This could be the moment for Maryville, but the root's coming in. The flash is away. As Masu's able to pick up the kill. Pop Blossom on Masu. Can't get cleansed away from that. As Yasa maybe flash. Doesn't have it. He killer instinct backs. Masu! He's huge! He turns it around. Make sure that even if he died, he took one with him.
And Herald goes over to the side of FlyQuest. They win the fight as well, as it pretty much goes even, and the gold goes over to the better members on the side of FlyQuest as they continue to cruise in this game. Take another look. Zyko going to be focused down first as his crash down just kind of zones off Spyrax. To be fair, the Shurima shuffle, it catches air. So nothing really found as it's a good flash coming out of Get Back. And in the back half, Masu able to clean up. Let's see how he plays this out. As he cleanses a little early. Then he sneaks into the brush. Scary Jerry wasn't able to get another auto down on him, so he falls. And honestly, if another Q and a full auto go off, he almost got Get Back too. As Masu 3-1-0, and I gotta say, we're in the last week of our season. Okay, hold on. We got a pulse. Faisal is not all. He's dead.
No undying rage. You can spin all you want, but you're gonna burn. That is a nice shutdown there for Maryville, but kind of going back to your point here with Masu and how things have been looking towards the latter half of the split. We've really seen the spring form of Masu starting to come back as more games have been played and looking really hot in the second part of the round robin.
I mean, I don't think at any point Masu's been bad this split. I just think that he's been more impressive in the second round robin, and I must say, my front runner for most valuable prospect after the first round robin was actually Fake God. I thought Fake God was absolutely fantastic in the first round robin. I haven't seen quite as strong performances out of Fake God in this one. My front runner coming in this last week, it is Masu. I think Masu has actually just been so consistently fantastic for FlyQuest Challengers. We have seen him grow his champion pool, the strats he can run. His Ziggs, we haven't seen him play mages before. His Ziggs looked like it was a very strong Ziggs that has been played quite a bit, as he just continues to give us more and more reason to be impressed with him as a player. This is only his third split ever competing competitively, and his second split playing at this level in Challengers. And man, I mean, he's leaving just so much really excitement for him as a player that I really feel like can be successful at the next level.
I agree, and it seems that FlyQuest agree too, because they play around him pretty well, making sure that they know that he will be the one that carries them in the later stages of a lot of these games, and how they can set him up early to get him accelerated has kind of been the game plan for them in the second half of the round robin, Cubby. At the moment, being 3-1 with the static shift completed, that wave clear, so he can be in this island, completely isolated, clearing it out consistently, while Scary Jerry's so far behind the curve here. Only with the Noon Quiver compared to this Kaisa, this gives Winsome so much opportunity on the map to kind of roam around and look for these plays mid lane, maybe even look for this play around the dragon.
And this Kaisa went Dark Seal, so we're expecting a Nashor's Tooth and a Ludens to be coming out from this Kaisa, so that means the 3-item spike is massive from this champion. Scary Jerry already being behind is not great. It's now.
Oh no, they started up the dragon. As Ryuji enters the pit, uncontested, looking for the backline, looking for Masu. Masu, killer instincts. Masu flashing away, but the equalizer makes sure that he dies, but he trades his life for the second dragon of the game.
Good engage. Masu wasn't able to get out of that one. So I think it is all right for the side of FlyQuest still, because guess what? They got a mid plate. They got the dragon. Let's look at top. Oh, look. 2 points going over to the side of the split pushing Tryndamere Maryville. Yes, they group, but they don't get enough for this grouping. And Faisal, the rest of FlyQuest, just continue to win out on the map.
The fact that you used 2 ults just to try to pick up that kill on Tommaso, actually technically 3, because I think the Magnet Storm was used as well from Zyko to try to pick up that kill, and then you still lose the dragon, you lose those plates. FlyQuest are really making the full effect of here, where Maryville want to put that attention into the spot lane to try to get Masu behind, but Masu's already far enough ahead that it's going to be so difficult for Maryville to do anything. We just saw right there that 3 ults had to be committed just to pick up the kill.
Shutdown still going over to the side of Maryville. I feel like Maryville, again, this is like them hitting their win cons, but this is just more consequences of how bad those first few waves went for the side of Maryville. How far behind they fell so early in this game, as it's enabled FlyQuest comp that really does scale throughout the game to come online much earlier. As Maryville, when you have a Vi, you want to be convincingly winning these fights early on in this one, Mad Magical.
True.
The fact they're using 3 ults just to snag 1 kill, not even finding neutrals, bleeding plates across the map. Ooh. Not what the side MU were looking for in this
Niles
draft.
Doesn't have Equalizer to clear out this minion wave either. TP is going to be committed, but he's got a lot of damage and burning them. You got to always fear the Rumble damage, but they turn it back before the Pop Blossom can come out, and they've got Undying Rage and Get Back. He'll die as well as a consequence. That is oh no indeed for Maryville.
Tryndamere did some pretty big work there in the 2v2 as things continue to fall apart here for the Saints. Looking more like sinners with this draft and how things have gone in this early game. As, I mean, this is cooked, man. This is a GG. This is go next. This is a FlyQuest angle. And honestly, FlyQuest, I was looking to see if they could be successful with more diversity of strategy. I don't feel like I can even really credit FlyQuest for being fully successful in proving they can play this strat, just because they got so far ahead in the first 5 minutes of the game. I feel like everything's just kind of falling apart for the side of MU now.
I feel like that's kind of been how how FlyQuest have been playing, though, on the second round robin. They have been playing very fast and loose early into the game. Think back to that one play against CLC where they got a quadra kill early on for Arrow, and then the next game they go for almost the same play, and they were the ones to get the triple kill for Masu. It's just feeling like FlyQuest, they're kind of testing a lot of the limits, and a lot of times in the second round robin, it has really been working out for them.
I like it, though. And I feel like it prepares you better for best of 3s, because I will favor the teams, especially at this level, that are not afraid to make early plays to break what would be draft advantages for teams moving forward. And I think that FlyQuest, you know, that's what they were able to do in this one. Like, they have scaling, but the way they manipulated the map early on, they made it so that MU fall behind so far in this early game, and now Faisal just put down an inner turret by himself, Mad Magical.
15 and a half minutes into the game, Cubby. 15 and a half minutes into the game! This is insane right now for FlyQuest.
He's got to have Navori. Please, give him Gromp. Give Faisal the kitchen sink, honestly.
Did we toggle the gold? I just want to see that really quick, kids. There could have been a play top lane. Okay, here we go. Yeah! Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay. Oh, boy.
Let's see. I'm going to check on MU's comp. Who can deal with Tryndamere in the side lane? Looking like nothing.
Look like a whole bunch of nothing. And, you know, I want to talk about Faisal as a player, because you talked about how we've seen him on FlyQuest Challengers. This has been a player that has been playing more the weak side. But that's not always been his identity. The Olaf, sure, that's the one thing that on FlyQuest he has been able to play that has been more of the split push. But back when he was on Cincinnati Fear, he was very well known, not just for the Olaf, but for how much chaos he would cause in these side lanes and get a lot of attention for him that kind of enabled the rest of Cincinnati Fear to play that 4v4 style, because they always knew that Faisal was going to win his 1v1.
I mean, Loki is actually a really good meal player. I think his Jax is okay. Faisal just continues to show that he is flexible as a player. For him, too, I think it's his 4th or 5th split playing competitively, and he's someone that I feel like is actually... I remember back in 21, actually, when he was playing in OQs, Even Kelsey was like, hey, this player's all right. And then EGP picked him up. Isol did really well, I think, last year. And it's great to see him now playing at this level. A player that I really feel like deserved the challenger spot in spring. And even with best teams in summer, was able to find one with one of the LCS.
Oh, no.
Orgs.
This is not the angle you want to be in, Maryville. Isol on the flank, spotted out there by the blue trinket. But it is soul point potential on the line for FlyQuest.
Get back, Steve.
It is going to be the TP here for Niles. They could look for this turn on Spire, and they've got Get Back in a huge position. Huge Pop Blossom. Maryville, they find the play they need to claw back some of the gold as well as the dragon on top of it.
I mean, for me with FlyQuest, I feel like they're fighting in windows where MU is strong. All you need to do is just put Faisal top while this dragon's up and let him feast upon another inner turret. But instead, FlyQuest Challengers decide to fight. They're far enough ahead. He's not in danger. He's got ult.
Yeah, he's got ult, but the biggest thing you'd want there is to pop that ult. So the fact he keeps that is going to be the one saving grace there for FlyQuest. But the dragon stacking has been stopped by Maryville. This is a glimmer of hope, Cubby.
Props MU. I think it was a great setup from them. The flash commit on the Spyrax. Spyrax flashes towards his team, which enables Psycho and Get Back to follow up really nicely. This is what MU wants to do with this comp. It's about the 5v5 early game wombo combo, as MU finally are able to execute the strategy that they wanted to with this draft. And FlyQuest, and for me, more of my gripe is that this is a team that scales on 2-3 items plus. Yes, they're very strong now. They could fight that, but also they could just go take that top inner turret, not fight this, and scale even harder throughout the game. So I think FlyQuest, by taking that fight, it didn't need to be forced. MU end up forcing a really good one in their favor, end up winning, and see what else MU can get off the back of this.
For MU, everything matters in this game. Every single game this weekend matters for them because that one victory they can get could be enough to gain them that distance away from the promotion tournament, as now they're looking for Faisal, who didn't pop the ult beforehand, but now Undying Rage has been popped with that flash still available, and I love that position from Autorn to make sure he cannot get out of there. So following that up, one more auto, never mind, two more autos, there you go.
Get over to Get Back. Good problem solving here by the side of Maryville. We have the Equalizer drop top lane to actually slow down the push of FlyQuest Challengers. They will be trying to fish this turret.
Nice
Good flash by Niles.
Though by Niles, as Spyrax took a lot of damage there from the turret. The minions will be cut as well, but without having that Equalizer, Niles doesn't want to follow that up anymore. Instead, they could look for this turn on Masu with the Magnet Storm and TP, trying to make sure he can't get out of there, but he already flashed over the wall. There it is, to get away from danger of Maryville.
No ult for the side of Auto Orange. Get Back had his, not able to quite get in range. So hold on.
Just cancel in some backs. Yeah. Hey, good stuff here from Maryville. Good things from Maryville.
This is what Maryville wants to do, right? Find more groupings and try to prevent Tryndamere from splitting down the side lanes. I feel like that is the right approach. I still think it is too little too late, and Maryville's doomed. But don't want to take away from the good stuff we've seen from Maryville.
You know what, Cubby? I'm going to disagree with you on that, because last time we said that with the Maryville game against FlyQuest in week 3, day 3.
It's true.
We said that both games. And look what happened. Maryville.
Okay. Now, Tryndamere has no TP, so Maryville is just firing this down. It's a bit of a split reset coming out. Spyrax can't TP
Get Back, though.
Okay, he's top lane. They know this is going on.
He's on the other side.
Watch Psycho. They're going to ult off him.
For him. Trying to go in. As Spyrax is on the other side. Get Back wants to get into the back line. But wait, no! Whoa! The tragedy! Oh, the humanity! Even though you get the kill on a winsome, you lost the Baron. And what is happening on the other side of the map? Faisal now has Baron. He's opening up the base because of this play as they get the pull back in. Equalizer does not help out at all because Masu is way too far ahead. Maryville, you had it all, but the Turo Baron buff goes over to FlyQuest, and the game itself should be there too because you cannot fight back against the power they gained early into the game.
Oh boy, I mean, part of me can't blame Maryville for trying to look for something now. Things don't get better for them as time goes on, but that is one way to drop the game quickly as FlyQuest. I think that's all she wrote. They're 10 seconds on Auto Orange, but they got 2 of their carries. Faisal does not have ultimate, doesn't have TP. He's setting it for this one.
Turo Baron buff, minions already there. FlyQuest, one of the fastest games we've had of the split, will take game 1 over Maryville.
One of them coming out from FlyQuest. I love the conviction that they had, as last time they faced Maryville, they had 2 games that I felt like were won in their favor. Weren't able to close it out. This time they made sure they closed it out in a rather convincing and quick fashion as they took Maryville down at that Baron, turned it into the insta-win. That might be one of the fastest Baron takes in the Nexus takes given game time I've seen. A 2140M when you get Baron is pretty wild.
Yeah, the fact that you get the Baron, you already have the split push going on from Tryndamere, who's already opening up the base without it, and then went back into the base and got solo killed by said Tryndamere. It was just such a series of unfortunate events there for Maryville.
It was only a 3k gold differential going to that Baron too. But again, Maryville decided to flip it. They ended up biting it, and they'll have to go back to the drawing board for the next game. And I would spend a lot more time focusing on what happened in the first 5 minutes of that game as opposed to the last couple of minutes. Because I feel like Maryville got blitzed in that early game, given the invade from UG. Auto Orange didn't really have a lane to play towards. In fact, he pathed towards lanes that didn't have push, which ended up really hurting him. And then that play mid turned around by Winsome at a great hover. From there, they bled that into bot lane where, Scary Jerry got so far. He, lost 3 plates? Instantly, pretty much.
3
from
plates
that play from FlyQuest. They weren't even level 6. So Maryville, a couple things maybe to work on in terms of how they were playing through the map there. And they're going to need it, as you called out, Mad Magical. Every win counts for them as they're trying to solidify their spot in playoffs. They're the team that is just above that red line. They want to stay there.
That was 3 seconds away from being our fastest game of the summer split. No, exactly. Only 3 seconds removed from it. That's how fast this game was for FlyQuest Challengers. But they take game 1 in a pretty convincing fashion. Really, the first 5 minutes, as you said, if you're going to VOD review, look at that and then stop the tape it there. Because I think that's what Maryville are going to do themselves. Say, yeah, we got to play the early game a bit cleaner because they had the elements there for their composition. It was just how that early game really spelled out. We're going to toss to a break, and when we come back, we'll bring back Mazel for our Rally Cry halftime show. But don't forget that we have to thank our sponsor here, Turo. The LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car sharing marketplace where you can book any car for just about any occasion. Forget your boring car rentals. Go over to Turo.com and get yourself an awesome car. And guys, we'll see you on the other side for our Rally Cry halftime show.